Hello. I have drawn the efficiency markers. The Union got really lucky. They got their 3, so Pretense gets 3. Bragg only got 2. Hardy got a 3. So that was, decent enough, although it sucks for Bragg because Withers is out of command, and I checked, there's no rule anywhere in it that says that he's considered in command. At least I didn't see anything that said he's considered in command for the start of the turn or anything. He's out of command. He lost 1, so he only gets 1 activation, which is going to be a bit of a pain for them. But everyone else is in command, so that's all good. As you saw in the other video, the Union won the initiative roll, so obviously Prenty, whatever, is going to be going first, and he's going to be activating first. One other thing I forgot to mention in the intro video is there is a special rule it applies for the Union up to the 10 a.m. turn of the game, which any scenario on this first day for the up to the 10 a.m. turn, so that'll include days. They basically have a penalty for second disorder rolls, is that they can Union units can basically just immediately rout on the second disorder roll, regardless. They just have to pass or fail, or they might just rout. So there's a high chance if the Union starts taking hits that they will just leave the battlefield altogether. So that's one problem they have there. They also have a +1 to their rally die rolls, which is bad. It's bad in this case, for just overall for everything, almost the entirety of the first day. So they got that going on. And there was, I accidentally left one of Gage's counters off the board, but it's there, so we got the full battery now. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I needed to clarify. I don't think so. Everything else seems to be pretty much just, normal. And I don't think that there's going to be any reason to change orders for this first turn, so that. You know what? One other thing, actually. I misunderstood something until I reread the section. I didn't realize that they can move and fire, and then they can, in the right circumstances, if they have the correct orders or whatever, they can shock. And if they don't shock, but they still can do the ammo resupply and rally disordered units. I didn't realize that was all one activation. I thought for some reason I thought in my head that the rally / resupply was like a full activate, like they had to do that instead of anything else. But that's not the case. So as long as they don't shock, they can actually do the rally and resupply. That'll make a little bit more sense with some of these Confederate units, especially since Peabody is gonna be pulling back here. Anyway, so just want a couple of things to clarify and update, and then I will go ahead and do the first unit. If something particularly interesting happens, I'll start the video again. Otherwise, I might wait till maybe a couple activations in or something. I'm going to play it a little bit kind of by feel of how I want to do this. Drawing all the chips and stuff. If I get there's also 2 battle event chits. If I get those, I'll film that and see what happens there and all that jazz. Play it a little bit by ear for now until I learn more of the system. Then I might do more of a full fluid kind of filming at some point. But there's going to be a break in the video, and we'll get to whatever the next interesting thing is. Okay, so quick update after just a couple activations here. So of course the initiative went to Prenty. Let's call him Print. Went to Print, so not a whole lot happened with him. Just the Peabody's brigade successfully pulled back with no disorder. They passed both their rolls for each regiment. They pulled back and formed a more solid line there. And then there was some slight movement over here, just keep Miller in command range. We moved up the independent brigade, regiment, moved it up just to maybe try to get some use out of it before the next turn. We're probably going to shift to attack mode orders here pretty soon just to make sure we can kind of move and fire and do all that. Then we got to Bragg's activation, which, unless I'm misunderstanding, his command ships mean he can activate either of the divisions under him. I think. If that's wrong, someone correct me. I'll probably I couldn't find anything that showed that it was wrong, but anyway, so he of course activated Withers. And so Withers division moved up. First Gladden moved up. There is some exchange of fire along the lines here with the 16th Wisconsin. The Wisconsin was disordered in the first fire, and but repeatedly passed its second disorder checks in every subsequent thing, and then also fired back, but was unable to inflict any damage. The Confederates, Gladden's always passed their disorder checks when they had to make them too. So, slight disordering, but otherwise they're doing okay. They'll probably be able to combine some fire, hopefully here at the next time they get to activate, to do some good work. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so I think Withers is out of command. Once again, so I've been playing it with Prent where he's not. Let me move up. I was playing it with Prent where he's not considered out of command. That might be wrong. He might be considered out of command for the scenario, and therefore should be having one less activation. For now, I'm going to play it as if he is, which might be a slight advantage to the Union that they aren't supposed to have. We'll see. Maybe they should only have 2 activations this round. I don't know. But that's the way I'm playing it. We'll just see how it shakes out. All right, so let me draw from the activation cup real quick. All right. And who do I got? Come on. Hardy. All right. So Hardy's going to go now, and we will see all his boys move up and see what they can do when we come back. So Hardy's activation is done. You can see, so Wood and Shaver moved up. Shaver was on the attack, so he had him move first. There was some fire exchange. No damage to Confederates. The Union here, the 12th Missouri, 12th, yeah, 12th, no, that's right, 12th, wait, no, MO is Missouri, that's Minnesota, excuse me. 12th Minnesota was, or is, no, wait, no, MI is, what was the, shoot, no, yeah, no, that's Missouri, MO is Missouri. MI, is that can't be Mississippi. It must be Minnesota. I'm not sure. I don't know anymore. Whatever. Anyway, they were disordered, but no other damage. That's all that pretty much happened there. And then then Wood moved up, and some of his forces moved up in front. Oh, you know what? It's +2 MPs, to move through units. Actually, they would not have been able to make it up through there. So let me just fix that and move them back down. That'll still be okay, I think. Yeah, them too. Not exactly sure where the Harper's battery would end up then. I'll put it here for the now. That's probably not the most optimal place, but I don't know. I'm not exactly sure. I'd have to redo that. Yeah, I'll just put it there for now. Some of Wood's other guys are back here because they were disordered, couldn't quite make it up. Oh, actually, that reminds me, I need to roll to see if they are undisordered. Also bad for the 7th Arkansas. They actually they rolled a 9, and there's no modifiers to their rally. So they actually stayed disordered and they lost a strength point. So that's a point for the Union, I think. I think that counts in their favor. Let me do these rolls real quick here for the 3rd Mississippi, or is that, yeah, 3rd Mississippi, I guess. Whatever. Anyway, roll for these two and the 55th Tennessee. That one's easy. All right, first we'll do, I'll just show over here. First we'll do Tennessee. They have a cohesion of 4. Oops. So they roll 0, so they're going to be good. I'll flip them just off camera. Okay. And then for the other guys, 7. They don't have any did they have any modifiers? Oh yeah, they had +2 because +1. Hindman was with them, so that's, or I guess it's technically -1. So that would be a 6, which is still twice their. Oh, this isn't good. It's still equal to or greater than or equal to twice their cohesion rating. They remain disordered and lose a point. Well, so I'm gonna have to change them out for a 4. Get one real quick. Punch that out. Okay, so we're gonna get a 4 strength point. We'll put the Tennessee on top. Hanging back on. Okay. So that's I guess another victory point for the Union, I guess. Okay. So that anyway. So that actually concludes my parties thing. So let me get the cup. Let's draw something. What we got? Battle event. Okay, I'll do this on camera. Let's see here. So we have battle event chip. So we have to. Where's the? Oh, here we go. The battle event results. Where's the table? Is there one on the? No, I don't. Oh, it's over here. Okay. 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. first day. So, you can see here. Okay, so I will use the Union dice for the first number. So it's a, well, that was a 1 on the original thing. So 14. So 14. That's going to be a CSA mistaken fire, which says the Union player chooses the unit. Okay, so this is going to be beneficial for the Union here. So the player designated by the battle events chart selects the firing unit, an enemy infantry unit within 3 hexes of a friendly unit, but not adjacent. He then chooses to fire, must have a line of sight of the target. Target must be in the firing arc. Treat the shot normally, except that SP losses are treated as automatic disorder. Ignore any D or D. That goes with the SP losses. So it would be like you treat 1D plus 2 like a result of D. If disordered before the mistaken fire, additional disorder requires to treat to 1 or 2 hexes. The unit firing is not affected by the roll. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Your target unit can be chosen more than once a turn. Never check for route. Firing a mistaken fire only affects the top infantry unit. Ignore artillery stacked above. Okay. Okay, so basically they have a chance of disordering a Confederate unit as long as they can meet the requirements. So let's see, is there, do we have, it can't be adjacent though. So this is, I don't know if there's a legal fire here they can do. Yeah. don't know if there's a legal... I mean, there's kind of some gaps here, but that's an artillery unit. It has to be an infantry unit, right? Yeah. It has to be infantry, so I don't think there's a way to do it. Well, wait a minute. Does artillery block the line of sight? Hold on. 1 second. Okay, given no blocking terrain, intervening combat units block small arms fire at all ranges except for artillery. Hex base information. This. Okay. Huh, okay. No intervening units are friendly to the firing unit. Blocks the line of intervening unit hex and other business for target units base invasion. Okay. Yeah, okay. As far as I can tell, they can't fire through the this is because they're the same elevation and everything, so they can't fire into the 2nd Arkansas. So unfortunately for the Union, it doesn't look like there's a legal, I don't see a legal fire for that. So that's unfortunate, but I guess at least they didn't get a negative result or something, so rather a negative, battle event thing. All right, let's just keep going. Then, oh, we got Prent. Prent is back in. All right, so he's got some work to do here. So we'll get to that right now, and we'll be back as soon as the Union is done. Okay, so 2 activations have happened since I did the Prent activation right at the end of the last cut, and then I also drew a second Hardy activation for 3rd Corps. So not a whole lot had happened during the Prent one. There was exchange of fire that was ineffectual on a lot, except that over here by Miller, the 6th Illinois was disordered after exchanging rifle fire with the 5th Mississippi, or is that Missouri? Whatever. They exchanged fire with these Confederates, and they were disordered, although the Confederates did take a strength point loss, but that was it. So that was a victory point for the Union. That's good. Then came Hardy's turn, or excuse me, Hardy's like command thing. So first we attempted to change Wood to a attack order that failed. He ended up with just a retain, so he has to stick with advance. Now, I can remove this marker. Oops. Well, there's a little hint about some stuff that went down. So for Shaver had moved in, exchanged fire. There was a little bit of some back and forth fire, and then engaged in shock. In retrospect, I probably should have not done the fire and got the charge bonus. I didn't realize quite how critical that +1 really is. So it ended up being disastrous for the Johnny Reb here. But in one of the things of fire exchange, though, by the way, they actually did get a 5 over here with the 21st Missouri, so they got low ammo and didn't manage to do anything except deplete their ammunition at an extent. But anyway, that aside, so there was two shock attacks here. One was the 2nd Arkansas against the 25th Missouri. They got a bloody standoff, so they both ended up disordered and losing a strength point. So that's not great for them, but in theory here, hopefully on the next order phase, in the next turn, we'll get an attack and we'll be able to sweep through here. The other problem, which I can show here, was the 6th Arkansas. Oh, come on, focus. Focus. Well, anyway, the 6th Arkansas, another green unit. Everyone made their green commitment rolls, but they went to shock here, the 21st Missouri, which admittedly was a much higher strength, but I needed to do it in order to be able to shock here, which had better chances. That ended up being a really bad roll. They ended up getting a standoff, which was both sides disordered, which is not technically terrible, but the Union troops made their roll on their second disorder. The second disorder, so they both got disordered in the pre-shock exchange, but then the 6th Arkansas failed their roll, and they had to do the shock table results second disorder table. So they had to roll a UDD, which they then failed, so they routed. So they're off the board. Not great. The Union could potentially counterattack here and inflict some more damage on Shaver if they change those orders next turn. But there's still a little bit more to do, so we'll see what will happen exactly. And then Wood, as I said before, he's still on the advance order. He's going to get changed, so he's maneuvered more over here. He can't move and fire under advance, so he just moved. We'll see what's going to happen here. I believe there's one more. Yeah, there's one more Hardy activation, so we still have a chance to maybe try to change that to an attack, and then move in for some serious shock combat with a flank attack and everything, and hopefully we can kind of roll the Union lineup by the start by turn 2. Otherwise, we have Gladden still in a good position here to begin an attack here pretty soon against already disordered Union troops. We just need to get another Bragg command or Withers command. Chalmers is still under advance, but I'll be able to do some fire over here into the Spain field a bit. So overall, this was not great for the Confederates, but they're by no means out of the game yet. Another thing, I keep getting bad disorder rally rolls over here. Also, these guys should be. So the 3rd Mississippi lost another strength point on the rally, and they're still disordered. So that's not great. But other than that, the rest of Wood is doing okay. So let's see what's going to happen here on the next activation. Oh, okay, Bragg. All right. So I believe that means we can do Withers, and we can get his stuff moving for some more attack. You know what? I'm actually going to see if we can change this to... Yeah, I think I might want to try to change this to an attack right now. Let's give that a shot. I don't think there's Gladden or Chalmers rather has no bonus for that, and no change order bonus. So let's just see what we get. Got a 0, which I think is bad, if I remember right. Let's find out. Brigade change orders. Greater than or equal to 1. Retain and stand. I'm pretty sure it's a 0, not a 10. So he's not sacked with division leader or overall commander. So I believe that's retain and stand. So retain keeps its orders. Brigade may... Oh, sorry, stand. Regardless of the result, the unit of the brigade may not move this phase. Okay, well, I guess they're just going to stand back and fire into Miller's. Miller's men here in Spain's field, and then the Gladden himself will just move in for some shock therapy. All right, so I'll come back when that's all resolved. Okay, so I cut over to still mid the Bragg command with Withers here. So a slight update, because this is exciting, so I want to actually film this. But so Chalmers went first and just did a bunch of fire combat, because since they weren't allowed to move into Spain's field. They actually routed the unit that Miller was on, and they were pushed back because the Union, there's that special rule where Union troops, if they get a second disorder from fire combat, they basically have to make a roll to see if they rout or not. They get second disordered. So they failed, so that unit routed. Miller's back here at the moment. And some other just damage was exchanged. I think they got taken down another, yeah, they lost another strength point. Just some fire there. But the exciting part, and why I want to flip the camera back on here, is with Gladden's brigade. First, their cannons, Robertson's cannons, managed to inflict some damage on the 16th Wisconsin over here, and now there is an infantry charge going on. So we got Gladden is with one strength 8 unit here, the 11th. Sorry, it's the 1st Louisiana actually. For the 1st Louisiana, along with and then two others, the 22nd Alabama and the 26th Alabama. They're charging into the 16th Wisconsin, and over here we have the 25th Alabama and the 21st Alabama are charging into the 21st, I think that's whatever that is, Minnesota, Missouri, whatever it is now, Missouri. Either way, they're charging into them. So this is pretty cool, and I think I can go over some. I had maybe someone who watches this who knows the system more can go into this, because when I did the shocks over here, I did the pre-shock fire, from the Union. I did both firing into them, the extended part of the line and that, which I think is what it's supposed to be, and kind of makes sense to me that you'd be able to fire with all the guys, assuming you're not getting split. If it's just like one unit, you're just firing into them. Now with here, I feel like I can and probably should split maybe, but is that I'm not sure if that's a legal thing to shoot all into the one hex. I don't know. I'm probably going to split this just in case. I don't want to do that wrong anyway. This is obviously only the extended line's going to be able to fire into them anyway, but so I'm not sure about that. But shouldn't be too much of a problem here. But I want to get this on camera. So let's go. So I already did. Okay, I did declared the targets, and I'm still learning. So sorry, it's gonna be a little bit slow here, but yes. So pre-shock. If we do the targets, the strength. I'll do the math on that in a second when we actually get to the thing. Retreat before shock. So, do they want to try to retreat? Let's see, infantry maybe 1 hex away. I believe attackers may not retreat if they're okay. Yeah, they're not under attack or under advance orders. Now they are disordered, which I think is I think this unit is this unit disordered as well? No, but they are disordered, which I don't think has a problem. No, it doesn't appear to. Medium advance and big hits. 6. Continued shock is not possible. Okay. I feel like it's probably in their best interest to retreat from the shock. But I think these are green units, right? Most of them are green, yeah. I think it's in their best interest to retreat from the shock. However, I'm going to leave them there because it's fun. So although I think it would make more sense to actually retreat, even though Peabody's still just going to get absolutely eviscerated, I'm actually going to just let him take because I think it's fun. And I'm just trying to learn, more about how this system works. Okay, let's just say they hold. Now we have to, okay, green attack, excuse me, green attacker commitment check. Okay. So we need to do that. So let's go left to right. So first we have, let's do the 26 Alabama. So they have a 6. Okay. They pass. Then 7 on the 22 Alabama. They pass as well, the 6. Okay. So they're all good. Next up is a 5 on the 11th Alabama. Okay, so they need a 5. Let's see. Over less. Oh, 2. They pass. All right, so far so good. And then over here, yep, they're both green. So a 7 and a 6. Okay, we'll do the 7 first and then the 6. So 7, pass, and then the 6. Pass. Okay, they all passed their green attacker commitment check. So that's good for the Confederates. Defender pre-shock cohesion check. Oh yes, we must now do. Okay, now we need to. Okay, we have to do this. So we have to do the pre-shock cohesion check. So this could be potentially pretty bad for the Union here. So let's start with them. So they have a 4. They fail. So the unit is already disordered. So it has to consult the second disorder table. Okay. The second disorder table says pre-shock cohesion check. They have to roll another one and see what happens. Okay. So they pass. So they lose 1 SP and then retreat 1 to 2 hexes. So it feels to me like it would have been better off had they just done the voluntary move. But we got to go back. So they lose 1 SP. So let's. No, we need a 14. There we go. And they will fall back to here. Okay, so let me just see something. So, second disorder table, right? ERMs. Pre-shock reaction fire. Units with shock attack. Oh, I need to do the other one too. Sorry. Yeah, these guys are a 6. Okay. Let's roll for them. They're fine. All right. Now we have the pre-shock cohesion check. Did that. Okay. Not much. Okay. Right. Units with shock attackers in their frontal axis fired those attackers only within restrictions for non-phasing fire. Let me just double. Okay, I'll have to double check. Anyway, whatever. Okay. Non-phasing fire. So that should be the. That'll be these guys, which had a 12. So there's 6 strength points. Okay, so 6 strength points. They are musketed, firing into them. Oh, well, that'll be the top unit. So it's going to be prepared fire with a musket. With into the woods is a +2 when it's adjacent, so +3 with the prepared fire, but then it's also wood, so -1, so it's going to be a +2 to the roll. So they roll an 8, big roll, big 8. Okay, so that's going to be a total of 10 on their modified die roll. So they're going to get a 10, and it's 6. So that's going to be 1 strength point and automatic disorder on this unit. So that's going to be reduced to 5, and it's disordered. And I believe the 21st now has to take a disorder marker, a disorder check. If I'm remembering that right. So let me just check the combat results. Right. Disorder. Seems okay. Disorder, D means disorders automatic to all affected units. Disorder from terrain. Affected being disordered, yes. Additional disordered infantry. Infantry units that are already disordered, and on it right. From fire. Shock from terrain, from automatic post-shock disorder. 2 units. Additional disorder. Reverse side of the means disorders for all affected units. D means all affected units means right. I know I read something like that. I think they have to make a check. I don't think they're auto-disordered because it's the top unit gets hit first, but I believe they have to make a check. I'll figure that out again later, but I'm gonna roll for now. I'm gonna roll and see if it even matters. Well, I guess it'll matter. Let's see. Okay, 5. So they pass. So assuming that they had to even take a check, they would pass. If not, then it doesn't matter. But okay, so they were disordered. Back to make sure I get this all correct. Okay. So now we just got to determine shock DRMs. So we did the fire. Yes. Okay. So I'll do this guy first because I think these guys just advance and end up not. I don't know if they get continued shock. I'm gonna have to look into that in a second. But for these guys at the very least. Oops. Oh boy, this is why I got the tweezers. Okay. Okay, so it's a total of 15 strength. 15 strength points. Crashing into 12. Oh, they had the low ammo DRM. That would have meant they only had an 8. What's the 8? So they take 1, but they so they would have had a check at a +2 instead. Okay, let's redo their thing real quick. So they have a 6 on their ordered sides. They still take the strength point loss, but 6 with a +2. I'm gonna say they actually passed that. They're not disordered. Okay, sorry about that. Let's just go with that for now. Okay. Right, I forgot about the low ammo. Anyway, okay. So now, 15 to 12, which, I mean, it's not quite 1 to 1/2. I'm gonna call it at a 1 to 1. So no change with the odds there, just for the sake of simplicity for now. I'm gonna say 0. Then, okay. Other adjustments to make. Let's see here. We have, so odds ratio 0. Any defender is disordered. No, they are not disordered. +1 to charge benefit, so that's a +1. Stocked an aggressive leader, no. There's no change on the wood terrain. We don't have Johnson. Pro defenders, no. Any attacker unit disordered, not even, no, we resolved that. My attacker has no brigadier. I'll be honest, I'm not 100% certain what that means. I think that means no brigade leader in command range, I think. which is also not true. But I'm not. I'll be honest. I'm not 100% certain. Attack with advanced orders, no. Each gets a continued shock. Okay, no. So it looks like we're just going to be at a +1 with the charge benefit. Okay, so let's do a roll. So we end up with a 2. Oh no. Okay, so a 2. Standoff. Both sides are disordered. Well, not the best luck for Johnny Reb there. Disordered. And down here, both are disordered. Well, I was really hoping that would be better. Now, shopping. Okay, yes, so in the following cases, continued shock is possible when you're doing this, adjusting for shock. Okay, so yes, so these guys do advance, and they can continue shock. They will not have the infantry charge bonus anymore, though. I believe it's just the regular. So they're going to continue. They're going to advance. I think Gladden will go with them. This is going to start getting a little bit trickier, but that's okay. We're going to send Gladden with them, and we're going to do our continued shock, which there are markers for, but I'm not going to get them out yet. I know it's continued shock 1, so they're going to be at a -1 with that. We're just going to go with it. So we have, okay, they're going to have to go, well, we can split it up. So we can actually send, we'll send it, I believe we can do the 22nd Alabama to shock them, and then send the 11th and the 26th into them again. I believe we can do that, so that's what I'm going to go with. So the 22nd Alabama, okay. So for continued shock, is there any other continued shock? Route right, place a continued shock mark on attackers. Yes, it advances into the vacated hex. Okay. Right. We change the face on right. Okay. Upon finishing advance, on units. Sure. If the defending unit was designated as the target of a different still unresolved shock, continued shock cannot combine with other shock. There is no shock. Okay. So I think if we basically can face them different, I think this is legal, rules-wise. I guess I'll hopefully find out soon enough, but for now, I think this works. Yeah, okay. So, okay, I believe this is what happens. Okay, so now we go into a continued shock, which is like a regular. So I think we just, yeah, there's no fire again. We just continue. Yeah, attack on me using standard rules for above. Steps 1 through 160. Yeah. Oh, okay. So I guess we'd still get pre-shock reaction fire still. Okay. Except maybe not them? I don't know. It's some of these little things. I don't like how the rules are structured exactly, because it requires so much hopping back and forth to kind of figure out, wait, this goes how, this goes how. I'm gonna have to find a tutorial video about shock combat and try to parse it out, but this is the way I'm gonna play it for now. All right, so yeah, target these two, targeting them, because that's in the front hex. There's no other continued shock that can happen, I don't think. So yeah, pretty much okay. I guess we have to do all the rest. Retreat before shock. No, I'm not going to do that. I mean, I guess I could, but I'm just going to leave it. Okay. Oh, I guess, oh, these guys would, I think these guys get reaction facing. Okay. So I guess they wouldn't actually need to change there. Okay. Right, train it. Okay, I guess we have to make another green commitment check? I guess we do. Yeah, because we go through all the rules, so I guess we do that. Okay. So let's start down here with G6. They pass. Next up, they're Cohesion 7 on the 22nd. They pass. And then Gladden's was a 6, I believe, right? No, 5. Okay. They fail, so they are not going to shock. Okay. So no more shocking for them. So it's just going to be these two guys having to split. Ooh, it's going to be a little rough on the... I mean, at least they're already disordered, so that might help them, but it's going to be a little rough for the 26th. Okay, so next they're going to get reaction fire. I don't think they get a second one, but these guys will get fire, pre-shock fire. So they're firing, yeah, 7. This is rifled fire, prepared. So we now have, this could potentially be pretty bad. Let's see. They roll an 8. Okay. An 8. So it's rifled fire, which is a +1 for rifled musket. Then it's prepared, so it's a +2, -1 with the woods. So it's a +1 overall. So it becomes a 9 on 7, so that's a 1D. So these guys are disordered and they drop down to 8. I think I have a, yeah, I do. Okay. Alrighty. Maybe I should not have continued the shock. It's already going, this video's already going 20, just this section alone is 20 minutes. Oh boy, this is why I try to cut it out. Anyway, attack, yeah. Then resolution, so okay, shock DRMs. So we'll do the 22nd Alabama first. So it's going to be 8 to 11, which I think is just a one. We'll call 1 to 1. So it's going to be -1 minus each successive. I think that's 1, so it's still -2. So it's going to be a -2, I think, here to the roll. -2. So it's a 4. So a 4 is bloody standoff. Each side loses 1 SP total and is disordered. 1 unit is one-sided planes. Yeah, okay, yep. So they're both disordered and they're going to lose an SP. So this drops down to 10, which I don't know if I have. Do I have a thing? I do. So this drops to 10 is disordered. These guys drop down to 7. They're already disordered, so we have to make a second check. Okay, so that's a 5. They fail. So this is a shock table results. They're going to roll another one. Or I guess I'm doing it as they roll another one, but maybe it's not that they roll another. Maybe it's that was the other one that they failed. Whatever. Well, anyway, they failed that one too, so I guess it doesn't matter. Lose 1, so they fail, so they just route. Okay, so they have routed. Oh, this seems so promising at first. Next up, 26 Alabama into here. So it's 9 against 14. I'm going to call that 1 versus 1.5. I think that's a fair designation. So that's going to be a -1 to the roll, plus it's a continued shock, so -2. But the defender's also disordered, so +1, so it's going to be a -1 total, I believe here. Okay, -1 total. Well, they got an 8. Well, that's much better. 8 to 9, defender retreats. Defending unit retreats 1 hex, and then disorders, plus the attacker may continue to shock. Okay, so they have to retreat 1 hex and then disorder. Okay, so they were not disordered before, so they retreat back 1 hex. And I believe, oops, I guess their extended line is going to retreat back with this artillery. Okay, and then I guess, do they auto advance on the continued shock? I think so. Maybe not. No, they don't. Okay. No, I'm not going to. I think they're not going to continue advancing. That'll be enough. Next we have the defender's pre-shock, or excuse me, next we have defender in the post-shock automatic disorder, elite shock attack, at the end of a series of continued shocks. The additional results below are applied to the affected units routed, unless the affected units are routed, excuse me. The term attacker for this section applies to player rolls the shock. Yes, besides continued attack. Automatic disorder applies only to units that have actually engaged in shock. Retreats before shock. Okay, affecting attack. All attacking units of dismounted cavalry in good order are now automatically disordered. Okay. I guess that would mean them too, because they did. Well, they failed. No, they failed that other shock, so I don't think they actually did. Yeah. Oh yeah, because it's only 6B. 6B is the result on applied. Result shock, yeah. So, okay. Affecting units at all mounted units in good order, so all disordered mounted, right? Affecting only defending units brigade. The brigade automatically changes to advanced orders, and that units in the brigade who are not involved in the shock that phase must undergo a UDD, which if they fail disorders them. Okay, wait. Units in that brigade that were not involved in shock that phase, I think I missed this before, that must undergo a UDD, which if they fail disorders them. For disorder they lose 1 SP. Okay. All units in that brigade that were not involved in shock at phase. Okay, they all had to do it in this brigade. Okay, that's a rule I think I missed before when I did these other shocks, and that can kind of help explain why things can get so resolve so crazy so fast. Okay, so let's do that. So it's if they fail, they disorder, and if they are disordered, they lose 1 SP. Okay, so this, I think I kind of hit both brigades here too. So that's, this one is 260, yeah, okay. 260, so that's Miller's, so Miller's, and then that one's Peabody's, yeah, so I have to hit everybody, okay. And that's the way it is. So them, they need to 5 or less. That was the wrong dice, but that's okay. All right, they failed, so they're disordered. Next up, I guess we'll do them. That's a 6. They failed, so they lose a strength point. Okay, next we got a lot else going on here. So we got these. Oh yeah, I think I forgot to mention they were out of ammo after rapid fire. Okay, so we have 7 and 7. So first guy, he failed. Okay, next one, he passed. Okay. Okay, next up, we got these two. So they're both 7s. So for A, I'm just gonna roll off camera here. Passed. And then for B, failed. Okay. Put them on top. Which might not be a good idea, but I'm not really sure. Okay, next up, them. 4. Passed. Okay, them. Failed. So they are down to 14 rather. I don't have a... Okay. Next we'll do them. 4. Failed. They are now down to 11. Oh boy. Okay, so this is nastier than I kind of thought after resolving a few of those, and from before. So Peabody's, 4. They passed. And then these guys are way back here. They're 5. They passed. Okay. So I think that covers everybody. That was pretty nuts then. If that's that's a little bit, like, I'm not exactly sure what that is, like what that rule, the post-shock disorder, oh, I'm so stupid. It affects only units under march orders. I'm so dumb. That's why I didn't do it last time. Okay, well, that's all right, whatever. I'll fix that off camera. This has already gone on way too long, so I will go ahead and patch up the rest of this turn completely and come back to that. All right, so this is the end of the 8 a.m. turn. So we're going to be moving on here to the 9 a.m. turns. Oops, 9 a.m. turn. But a little wrap up of this situation before I post this. I was reading, I realized a couple things. I was forgetting situations where the massed fire bonus would have been applied, and there's a few other rules I was missing, but I'm getting them down now. I had corrected the mistake I had made before with the aftershock thing. Anyway, so I'm learning it. I'm picking it up. I'm getting it more like in tune with, like, okay, this is like the process of actually playing this system. And I still haven't really, I don't have it down pat or anything yet by any means, but I can tell it's a good system, even if I'm not a huge fan of like the rules layout. But I'm getting it. I'm starting to get it, and I can really see how cool this is. So even very briefly experiencing it, I can already tell this is good. Anyway, so I'm definitely gonna have to get more games in this series. Okay, so oops, sorry, little bump. Recap of, I'm sure you can probably tell a lot kind of happened. Not as much as I was hoping in some situations. There was some shock fighting over here, but this green unit was about like the 27th Tennessee, in conjunction with his partners here with Wood's thing, should have had like a flank attack on the shock combat in here, but they failed their green roll, so no flank. We just ended up kind of disordering everyone got disordered and they got pushed back. A couple other things getting kind of pushed back and seesawing a little bit over here by Wood and Shaver. Now, one thing I know I'm thinking about it, I have not tried to use brigade coordination in any of them, which might be a mistake. That might be a mistake. It might be worth trying the brigade coordination, say over here with Heinemann's division, possibly with Withers as well, to get that big shock attack. I think is probably necessary. I might have to go for it on this turn here, this coming turn. So that's a potentially a lost opportunity. or something I just haven't been trying to utilize, partly because I'm still trying to get the hang of the basics, but you know, that I can see why, if that was a successful roll, that would really have helped in some situations. But it still, you know, still could help now, so we'll see. Anyway, everyone is shifted to attack, I guess, except for well, what was Miller. Miller, you can see here's the replacement. Miller was killed after a fire exchange over here. Chalmers is a little bit late to the action, I suppose, but his rifled infantry have been really doing a number on the Union right over here. Or excuse me, that's the Union left. The Union left is being chewed up by Chalmers' boys. I mean, they exchanged a little bit of fire and done like a slight amount of damage, but not nearly as much as he's been dishing out. You can see there's retreats and disorders back here. Obviously, Miller's dead, so lots has happened. Lots has happened. Not looking great here. I think Miller and his guys, or Chalmers and his guys, can pretty much hammer through here if they get a decent efficiency roll, or chip roll rather. They'll be doing good. This is a little murkier, but I still think Heinemann, with a concerted push, can force them back, especially if Gladden gets back in here. Gladden's able to rally a little bit. Still got some units that are a bit disordered and undercooked, but still, I think a really considered push will actually drive the Union pretty much from the field at the moment. Yeah, so that's kind of what the situation is. I will start getting into... Let me get moved. I will get into the new turn on the next video and cover that. So sorry for the long bit there when I was doing that whole shock charge thing, which you know, I don't know if it was, some of this stuff I'm not sure. I can't tell how much of it is just me not being a great commander yet, not really knowing the flow of this, of how to utilize this stuff in the system, and how much of some of that was just bad luck, or a combination of the two. I lean more towards the former thing, but I mean, some of those, there's some of those rolls I've gotten on the shocks have just been, like for the Confederates, they've just been bad. They're just rolling 2s and 1s. It's just not great. Even when they get the bonuses, it doesn't always add up to a great result for them. So you know, one extent, they had that one really good shock roll, and everything else has been bad. So some of that's just luck. But 9 a.m. turn. I think they have a real shot here now that fatigue is just starting to set in for everybody. But I think they're going to have a real good chance of pushing the Union off the field.